A single course of antibiotics can wipe out up to 300 beneficial bacteria species in your gut, triggering symptoms you wouldn't even connect back to it. Anxiety, depression, incessant fatigue, and a compromised immune system that can take years to rebuild. And that's what a 2026 study in Nature Medicine found. And it tracked nearly 15,000 adults over 8 years. Now, here's the part that stops my clients cold. That destruction from one single course of certain antibiotics was still showing up 8 years later as a damaged, destabilized gut ecosystem. And we wonder why so many people are walking around sick with poor gut health and no answers, because your inside situation gets worse as you age and it gets harder to treat. And I should know, because that is my job, to get people's health back on track. And it starts in the gut. The bacteria responsible for sealing your gut wall, regulating your hormones, producing your mood chemicals, protecting your liver, keeping your body's system switched on correctly, get decimated. And they try to recover, and it's not days, it's not months later, it can take years from one course. So today I'm walking you through exactly what I use with my own clients. The protocol is called the G.U.T.S protocol, G.U.T.S. It's a specific therapeutic protocol with the strains and the healing foods to take during and after your course so your gut recovers faster instead of spending years repairing it while your symptoms quietly build up. Now, as a health practitioner, no, I am not anti-antibiotics. There are absolutely situations where they are necessary and life-saving, but the collateral damage to your gut is real. And antibiotics are one of the biggest offenders because they can do a Hiroshima bombs worth of damage in one go. One of the reasons why I created this channel is to simplify gut health and make it practical for the busy person. And everything I share here is pulled from research, my clinical experience, and ancient wisdom that stood the test of time, because they matter. And to make things easier, I've put together a free guide called the G.U.T.S Recovery Protocol, and it's a simple print-ready sheet mapping out exactly what to take and when, so there's zero guesswork. And when you join my free Gut Love Club email, you'll get that plus access to 30 of my private clinical protocols, the same ones I use with my clients, from everything from anti-aging to adrenal health and hormone balance. And I also have gut boosting upgrades of your favorite foods. It's all free, the links are below, I'll drop it there. Now, before I get into that protocol, here's a quick but very important note. You need to always check with your healthcare practitioner before adding supplements, especially if you're on medications or managing a chronic condition. We are all different, and so are our gut microbiomes. That said, you don't need to do all 4 layers at once. Even 1 or 2 can make a meaningful difference, so just start where you can. Okay, let's start with the G. This is the GUD, Saccharomyces boulardii SB probiotic, and it's my go-to during a course. It's the one I recommend pretty much every time. The Saccharomyces boulardii is shortened to SB because it's a lot easier to say, and the best strain here is the CNCM I745. It's the one with the strongest clinical backing. Here's why it works when everything else can fail. SB resists the antibiotic itself. It inhibits the pathogenic adhesion to your gut wall and actively reduces the toxin-mediated inflammation that causes so much of the downstream damage. And here's the part I love. While your antibiotics is in there doing the demolition job, SB is literally standing at the door going, not today. Think of it as your gut's bouncer, keeping the troublemakers out while the place gets rebuilt. How to take it. You start with SB the same day you begin the antibiotics. Got to take it away. So at least 2 hours away from your antibiotic dose. That part matters. If your antibiotics is at 8 a.m., your SB will be after 10 a.m. with or without food. The standard dose is about 5 to 10 billion CFU per day, split across 2 doses ideally, and you don't stop when your antibiotic course ends. Continue at least 2 weeks after your final dose. That window is where your gut is most vulnerable, and most people stop here assuming their gut sorts itself out. What actually happens is that the weeks after the course is where the long-term damage gets locked in, when the bacteria starts growing back. And this is the part basically no one talks about. So up next is the U and the T. This is uplift and terrain. Now we're going to use probiotics, HMOs, and a famous ancient fermented food after your course ends. Think of it like SB held the line during the storm. Now it's time to rebuild. Now this is where BB12 comes in. I know it sounds like a gun. It's the exact opposite, actually, because it brings life, not destroys it. This strain is actually called Bifidobacterium lactis BB12. It's one of the most documented probiotics, bacteria and probiotics, with over 400 published studies to its name. And research published in the Frontiers Microbiology showed the BB12 significantly boosts secretory, can never say that word, IgA. It's your gut's own immune defense molecule. And it helps restore the bifidobacteria dominance in your colon, exactly what many of the antibiotics knock out the hardest. One critical distinction, VB12 is not your during antibiotic tool. Wait until your course is finished, then start. And how you take it is you begin the BB12 the day after your final dose, with or without food, continue for a minimum of 4 weeks with that standard $1 to $10 billion CFU dose. And here's what most people miss entirely. Probiotics without the right fuel is like planting seeds in concrete. Nothing grows. And there are different fuels, but one of my favorites is called HMO, human milk oligosaccharides. Yes, I know it sounds like something off a baby formula tin, but adult research is catching up fast. The clinical trials show HMO selectively feed beneficial strain that the antibiotics wipe out, and they help tighten the gut wall while they're there, which is great. So the BB12 plants the seeds. HMOs are the fertilizers that make them take the root. And how you take it is you start the HMOs the same day as the BB12 after the course ends. And you can look for the two fucocellulosis, written as 2FL on the label, daily with or without food. And now this is where kefir earns its place. It's a bonus addition, but honestly, it's one of my favorite fermented foods. It's been around for a long time, and just 1 shot of kefir daily is one of the most powerful food-based tools you have on post-antibiotic recovery for your gut. You can buy it or you can make it yourself in less than a minute. And if you want to know how to do that, I'll link the video up right here so you can learn how to do that. Now, kefir contains some of the most well-researched probiotic strains on the planet, one of which is called Lactobacillus kefiri, and why it's called kefir in at least the languages I know. A 2021 study in Nature Communications found it's significantly increased microbiome diversity and reduced gut inflammation markers. And it's been used for thousands of years across cultures that had gut health figured out long before we even had a word for it. If you've never had fermented foods, you need to start small with a tablespoon and build up, say to half a glass. Your gut needs time to adjust to fermented foods, and that's completely normal. Now, if you've had multiple rounds of antibiotics in your life and you're living with ongoing bloating, brain fog, fatigue, digestive issues, and you have no real explanation, there's a very real chance that your microbiome has never recovered fully. And that's not being dramatic. That's really what the research actually shows. And I see it in clinic every single week. And this is exactly why I built my gut reset and repair program. It's a step-by-step protocol designed for busy people that rebuilds the gut from the ground up. The foods, the specific supplements, the sequencing, the timeline for people who want a more affordable path to better gut health than doing one-on-one consults. Because Googling at midnight is not a plan. It will actually take you in circles. And I'll put the links in the description. And then we move on to the final layer. Let's talk about the S, the seal, bovine colostrum. Now, antibiotics don't just reduce the bacterial populations, they physically damage the structure of your gut wall. They loosen the tiny proteins that control what gets in and what stays out. And when those gates loosen, the toxins, partially digested particles, and bacterial fragments, you might know as LPS, can leak into your bloodstream. And that's called leaky gut. And if it's left unaddressed, it quietly drives inflammation, brain fog, anxiety, and hormonal disruption for years. And this is where bovine colostrum comes in. It's actually the first milk produced by the cow after birth, and it's rich in immunoglobulins, growth factors, and lactoferrin. And the research shows it reduces gut permeability and supports the repair of the gut lining. So you can think of it like your bricklayer that seals the cracks while everything else fights and rebuilds. Now, how you take it, you start colostrum the same day as you begin the antibiotics and continue for 4 to 6 weeks after your course ends. On an empty stomach, about 30 minutes before a meal. And there's a standard dose of 1.5 to 3 grams per day. But again, you always want to check the product label and make sure that these supplements are right for you. So here's your complete gut recovery protocol recap. We've got the G for guard, the SB from day 1, 2 hours from every antibiotic dose, continue 2 weeks after. The U is uplift, BB12 the day after your final dose, 4 weeks minimum. T, terrain. This is the HMOs alongside the BB12, and the daily kefir, 2 tablespoons to start, to build from there. And then you've got the S, which is to seal it, and this is the bovine colostrum from day 1 through to 6 weeks post-antibiotics. And remember, you can have that free guts recovery protocol guide with this entire protocol. It's a 1 print ready sheet available, and it's in the links below. While you cannot stop antibiotics when your body really needs it, you can control how your gut bounces back from it. That gap between what the research knows and what most people are told costs most people their health. Closing that gap is why I'm here. If this gave you something real today, hit the like and the subscribe button. That small gesture helps me show up for you every single week to improve your gut health. If you love this video, you're going to love my next video on how to make any meal gut boosting. It's right here. Click it before you forget. Until next time, love your guts.